Namaste, my dear friends. We continue today with wisdom sharing, and I got an important question that quite often I'm being asked for in private messages. And this time, this question was asked by Ace 2099. And the question is Amanita Muscaria Guru, have you heard to know anything about how long you can save them dry before they lose their effect? So it's a very good question, and maybe I'll share even a little bit more input. So first of all, you have to know that Amanita muscaria growing in the same, let's say, forest can have 2 times in strength difference depending is it gathered inside of the forest or on the outskirts of the forest close to the field. Typically, when there is more sunlight, they become even more potent. So for example, this is a small detail which already has the impact on the potency of Amanita. From my personal experience, I have also noticed when you gather Amanita muscaria in springtime, especially the first flow of Amanitas, or let's say the beginning of summer, they have even a higher potency than any type of Amanita that will come later. As if throughout the winter time, Mother Nature and the land was gathering the energy, and then Amanita, boom, gave its one of the most strongest, profoundest mushrooms throughout the year from exactly this part of the land. So for that reason, so you would just know that when you're gathering even Amanita from the same place can have different potency. So the best way here to kind of to control this potency is often to make from all of the Amanitas that you have gathered one type of a powder form. But it has as plus effects as negative effects. So what is the plus effects? Through that, you can kind of calculate what is the average of Amanita strength from that specific field. But what is the minus? That once you make it into powder, it starts to lose its potency a lot faster rather than it's kept in cap form. So now let's try to analyze what helps to preserve us Amanita the best way. So the best way to preserve it is in cap form. Then if you make it powder, it starts to lose more potency, but through that, it is a lot more balanced out. Once you have them, it's best of all to store them in a dark place, not hot. So, for example, I best of all like to use Amanita muscaria through a special way of freeze drying. So there would be no liquid inside, and we have our own method of developing it through which it becomes a lot more stronger, intense, and a lot more smoother. But at the same time, on one hand, it helps to preserve it better, but at the same time, from my own practical experience, I made a mistake because it was by me in a special bag, which, as I live right now in Asia, in Thailand, that the Amanita had the connection with the warm air, even though that it was packed in a dark place, and eventually a big part of its healing components got faded out simply because it was too hot. Even though nothing got into direct connection with it, it was in a very good plastic bag. But still, within half a year, I saw how Amanita transformed itself from yellowish and light powder into dark Amanita powder. So that's why if you keep it, I highly recommend it to keep it in a dark place. If you can, best of all, to keep it not only in a dark place if you live in the south and you have hot weather, but to keep it in a cool place, in the freezer. In my opinion, one of the best places is literally to keep Amanita in a freezer, in a dark place. So through that, it will keep its potency in the very best way. As you have to know, when moment the heat goes up, already certain processes start to happen inside of not only mushrooms, but nature. So for that reason, the best way to keep the mushrooms, it's in a dry place, in a dark place, and best of all, in a freezing place. This is what is considered about the caps and the powders. You use caps, they preserve better. Powder lose their effect much more. Now let's take how long and how much potency do they lose. So throughout the year, I would say in cap form, they lose about 10-15%. When you make powder form, I would say they lose 20-25% of potency, no, like 15 to 25%, depending how you preserve, how you keep it, and etc. So, in other words, you can use Amanita for like with no issues, even in 4 or 5 years. Just the level of psychoactive elements will be low. If you keep it in caps, it will remain much higher. So, when the most important aspect of Amanita, I would say gather so much Amanita for your whole season ahead. Of course, in our shop, we gather some of the best amanitas, dry them, and etc., and then give them to the whole year long. But right now, we have a special also time, summer and autumn starting, when it's really, really cool and good to go out and fetch your own amanita. As when you have gather it by yourself, you have a very deep and beautiful connection with the spirit. You know that it's all about personal relationship in life. Well, the same way with medicine plants. When you go and gather and you make this connection, it's super valuable, and you will see that this amanita will guide you even deeper, even smoother, even more beautiful, and many other benefits. So I highly inspire everyone to develop a skill on going out and gathering mushrooms or other medicine plants. And now, once the season is here, go and gather. If you don't have that opportunity, well, feel free to look in the comments below, and then I'll add a link to our Amanita shop where we sell the best grade Amanita that you can find through online, as it goes through my personal contacts and sources. And so far as the practice shows, the best Amanita by quality and by, let's say, the healing components and the concentration of them is in Russia. And the amanita that we have is specially being gathered by special gatherers and being sent to us to Europe. So if you want to find out more about it, check the links, and the rest, put a like if this has helped you. And if you found out today something important for yourself that you didn't find in other places, and I'll just make a small summary. So if you want to preserve your amanita, or let's say step by step, best of all, go gather yourself. If you cannot gather, go get it in a great shop that has been tested, like by us. Secondly, if you go and gather, then dry them out and keep them in caps. If you want to consume them, much better to transform that amount of caps into powder. If you keep it in caps per year, they lose maybe 10-15% of potency. If you preserve them and you keep them in powder form, then they lose per year 15-25%. The best place to store it is in a dark place. If you live in the South in Asia, then put it in the freezer, because the warmth will destroy and start slowly the process of transformation. So that's why keep your amanita, best of all, in a freezer like I do. I mostly keep it in powder form. And gather throughout the year that amanita that you're planning to consume. And if you have any left, just always share with your friends. And if you're buying it, well, also share with friends, especially the ones who are searching for energies, for strength, and who are going through challenges. As truly, in my opinion, Amanita Muscaria, it's one of the best tools that you could have in your personal medicine box at your home. And I use it constantly when there's issues, or when somebody from the family member has problems with stomach, head, or any type of other pain or any type of sicknesses. Amanita Muscaria microdose helps profoundly, just like profoundly, especially with sleep and even with menstruation cycles. It can help women a lot to overcome the pain and go through this process a lot smoother and better. So I hope you heard something what's valuable for you in the meanwhile. And I wish you all a beautiful day. And thank you very much, Ace, for the question. May this be the answer that you were looking for. Namaste. I worship the God within you.